She knew from the first conversation that something was off. He was charming but distant, present but somehow always just out of reach. He made her feel seen in moments and then disappeared for days without explanation. And the more he pulled away, the harder she tried. The more unavailable he was, the more certain she became that if she could just be patient enough, understanding enough, good enough, he would finally let her in. He never did. And 6 months later, she was sitting across from someone new. Different face, different name, same distance in his eyes. If that story sounds familiar, not because it happened to you exactly that way, but because you recognize the feeling, I want you to stay with me. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't about bad luck. It isn't about the wrong choices. It's about something much deeper than that. Something that was put in place long before you ever went on your first date. Here's the truth that's hard to hear. We don't fall in love randomly. We fall in love with what feels familiar. And for a lot of us, what feels familiar isn't actually love. It's the closest thing to love we ever received, which is a very different thing. Think about the emotional environment you grew up in, not the dramatic version, not the story you'd tell a therapist on the first session. Just the everyday texture of it. Was love something that was freely given, or was it something you had to earn? Was affection consistent, or did it come and go depending on someone else's mood? Were you celebrated for who you were? Or were you celebrated for what you did, how you behaved, how little trouble you caused? Most people, when they sit with those questions honestly, start to notice something uncomfortable. There's a concept in psychology called the attachment blueprint. It's the internal model of relationships that forms in early childhood based on how our primary caregivers responded to our emotional needs. If those responses were warm and consistent, we develop what's called a secure attachment. We learn that love is safe, that people stay, that we are worthy of being loved without conditions. But if those responses were inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes absent, our brain learns something different. It learns that love is uncertain, that you have to work for it, chase it, prove yourself worthy of it over and over again. And that uncertainty, that push and pull, that hot and cold, that almost but not quite, starts to feel like what love is supposed to feel like. So when you're an adult and you meet someone who is warm and available and consistent, it can feel almost boring, almost too easy. Where's the tension? Where's the uncertainty? Where's the feeling that you have to earn this? And when you meet someone who is emotionally unavailable, someone who keeps you guessing, who gives just enough to keep you hoping, something in you recognizes that feeling. Not consciously, but in the body, in the nervous system. This feels like home. And that's the cruelest part of all of this. You're not attracted to people who can't love you because something is wrong with you. You're attracted to them because your nervous system has been trained to interpret that particular kind of emotional tension as love. The anxiety of not knowing where you stand. That's not a red flag to your nervous system. That's a familiar feeling, and familiar feels like safe, even when it isn't. So you try harder, you give more, you make yourself smaller. You tell yourself that if you can just be patient enough, understanding enough, he'll come around, she'll open up, they'll finally see how much you have to offer. But the person who is emotionally unavailable is not withholding love because they haven't seen enough of you yet. They're withholding it because they can't give it. Not to you, not to anyone, not right now. And no amount of patience or effort or love on your part is going to change what they're capable of. I know that's painful to hear, because it means the problem was never that you weren't enough. It means you were spending your energy trying to unlock a door that was never going to open from the inside. So what do you do with this? You can't think your way out of an attachment pattern. You can't just decide to be attracted to different people, but you can start to notice. The next time you feel that pull, that electric, anxious, I need to earn this feeling, pause. Not to talk yourself out of it, just to notice it. to ask yourself, is this excitement or is this familiarity? Because those two things can feel almost identical in the body. And learning to tell them apart is one of the most important things you can ever do for yourself. And if you find yourself drawn to someone who is consistently warm, who texts back, who shows up, who makes you feel steady instead of anxious, notice if your first instinct is to pull away, to find reasons it won't work, to decide they're not exciting enough. That instinct is worth paying attention to. Because what feels boring to a nervous system trained on uncertainty might actually be the thing you've been looking for your entire life. You are not broken. You are not cursed with bad luck in love. You are someone who learned to love the way you were shown. And that can change. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with exactly this: seeing the pattern for what it is, naming it, understanding it, and slowly, one relationship at a time, learning to let something steadier in. If any of this resonated, leave a comment. You don't have to share everything. Even just this explains so much, and I'll know. And if you want to keep going deeper on things like this, follow the channel. I'll be here every week.